on. Wait. Oh yeah. Hold on, everyone. I need to go to the bathroom. Now, I perhaps want to do something with Mom originally. Just every. I can't really see on the calendar here, but Monday through Friday this week, from today, the 22nd to the 26th, pretty much every day, I'll both show the same video to my mom and react to it for you all to see. And plus, after I'm done making all the videos, I'll make a playlist because I have no editing skills because I pretty much do not know how to edit. Like I said in the video, announcing Crash Week. And along with that, pretty much, I originally planned for Crash Week only show the videos to Mom, but I came up with the idea, why not react to him? And since I got the idea of streaming, I want to use my computer and watch on the TV, of course, with commentary. And along with that, my parents said no, for good reason. And so that video of, the Alzheimer's, or, Hudson and Howie, yeah, that's gotta be private. Until either it's fully deleted, not forever, of course, or actually public again. If it's public, that means the authorizers are right with the video being up. And if it's down, yeah, I think I know why that is. So, on to the video. Wait. Oh, what? Alright. We got it. Okay. So. Wait, hold on. Let's see if I'll get a little less brighter. If I put it closer. Alright, it's not really, it's still very bright compared to what I see, but we can work with this. I'm looking at the screen right now and I can't even tell what it says on my computer.
Off to Crash 3.
Oh yeah, right. Pretty much I put a little too far. Also, this is definitely not for children because I'm Colin, this is Caddy Curious. What do you expect? Okay, we're talking if it was still going. Alright. I guess let's go. Oh wait. Alright. Look at what you can see right now on my little computer. Because it really shows my footage. Like a lot of other cameras, except you see a lot of other cameras and the stuff you can see on the footage is very small. A little bit of the computer, of course. And so from where you can see, it's way too bright for you to even see what the hell this thing is. So this is supposed to be like PS1 style. This is some joystick. That looks like it's supposed to be a screen. That is obviously a plug. These buttons of, PlayStation, you should probably know what the 4 ones are. X, square, circle, and triangle. Yeah, it'd be hellish to try and play a video game with this. Well, pausing is a thing that uses other buttons. But come on, it was like a title card. I don't think they thought about that. Plus, it's not supposed to be a controller you can use at all. I am talking way too much. Let's just go into this. Oh, and this was during 2020. Actually, one more time so I can try and sing it. Teddy Caras. Boom.
And so I said to the vicar, I'm not a man, I'm hungry. You know what? I'm really starting to like you now, Bricks. I don't think I ever want to leave lockdown. That's good because you can't. Oh, hello, welcome to my show. I'm Caddy. And when I'm not busy committing treason in America, you'll most likely find me playing Crash Bandicoot games.
Oh, and he's British.
Yeah, that's all I ever do with my life. I'm either playing Crash or being an American traitor. I'm sure by this point, a lot of you know my deep, uncomfortable love for the marsupial. I mean, last year I even did a video making a tier list rating all of it.
Also, let's see. Okay, I don't really care about what he ranked on certain things. I care about, like, the essay, all that stuff. You know, I don't see an F anywhere. But after all, this was, like, 2019 or 18, whichever one. I said about a year ago, so it should be 2019. Tier maker, yep, I've seen that before. And so, D, C, B, okay. It just doesn't have the F, okay.
From every game he's been in. Terrible so for anybody new here, well...
Hi.
On my channel in 2018, I decided to label every June of every year as Bandicoot Month, where my channel...
Okay, that was a lot of boxes, but also...
Terrible so for anybody new
Uncle
here,
Rocco's face. You know, the
on
mask.
my channel in 2018, I decided to label every...
Can you even see it? Okay, barely. Okay, this was definitely not a good time to pause. What? Do you have one of these in your mouth? Yes, I actually have these. So good, freeze-dried sour spheres. It's a thing. Alright, let's keep on going.
Of every year as Bandicoot Month, where my channel briefly goes on a Crash deviation to celebrate everything and anything to do with Crash.
In Bandicoot. Cunt.
Including his buttocks. Creases. You see, if it weren't for Crash, I probably wouldn't be here making videos. Crash 3 Warped was the first game I ever played. It was the introduction into the games industry for me. And since then, I've
Okay, 4 platinum relics. What was that? The golden relic key in the middle of the top? Okay. Yep, you're definitely not seeing that one anytime soon, the whole thing. It's at the top center.
Thin. Hence, I wanted to dedicate a whole month to talk about him. Okay, that video was late. So yeah, even though the world has still turned into bricks outside, that's not going to stop this train.
I wonder how he came up with the thing of bricks for 2020 and because of COVID. Which to me, I didn't know it was even known for COVID until I saw certain videos, you know, on YouTube relating to that. Like, to me, it was just some old year that I don't have any memories of because, well, gone. I don't even remember what Constance looked like when she was a baby, and that was like a year ago. What do you expect from my memory? Hi, Batsy. Batsy's on me. You can't really see from... I can tell that he's definitely on me. Okay, not now. You... What? What are you trying to do in the first place, buddy? Stop going bad, Batsy. Yeah. Okay, this video. Oh wait, it's gonna be a longie now. I just realized this video is 58 minutes long. Okay, and we have. Oh God, these videos are gonna be some longies.
So welcome.
And plus, I have a playlist of all these videos, so you can go and check them out. Alright. And you know what? I should leave what I'm thinking about to the end, because it's for Cuddy Cares. Him. Alright, let's continue. Tintin.
Bees and germs.
Bees and
To
germs.
Bandicoot Month 2020.
Bam! Bam, bam, bam.
Why is it in June though? Pretty simple really. I was born in June 1994 and Crash 3 was the first video game I ever played. And then the Insane Trilogy came out in June 2017, followed by Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled coming out in June 2019. Basically, the stars all align when it comes to the month of June, me and Crash Bandicoot. I'm also very aware that Bandicoot Month is not a very original name, but it's a lot better than Junedicoot.
Yep.
And God help us, we don't even talk about Bandicoot. But with
What, you call it that all the time?
for the orange rat, so too comes a desire to perfect his games. And yes, I have indeed broken all the boxes and found all of the gems in all of the games multiple times over, and ticked over the completion percentage to 1,000,000% more times than I turned a box of sharing nuggets into a box of these are all mine nuggets.
I'm sorry, I've never seen those, but let's continue with Batsy, I guess.
By countless replays of Crash's games, there's one thing I've neglected to touch for years
yeah,
and
those are
years,
Wampa fruit.
until now. A few years ago, I uploaded this video to my channel. Crash 1, I did it. Crash 2, I did it.
Crash 3, I did it.
Yep, I got every single Platinum Time Trial relic in the classic Crash trilogy about a year and a half ago. Back then, I was really proud of myself. But that pride came at the cost of my own sanity. And so, since I guess I never recovered, I thought I'd take it one step further and make a video talking about what I went through when I woke up one day and decided that all the Platinum relics in the original trilogy wasn't enough. Welcome, everybody, to the time that I got
202 Platinum Relics.
At first, you may not even know what I'm talking about, so here's some history. Crash Bandicoot 3 introduced us to the concept of permanent power-ups for Crash, obtainable after beating each boss level, and they allowed you to revisit stages you missed collectibles in and use those new power-ups to reach them. It also gave you more unique ways to get through the levels in general, and made some of the later stages more difficult to test your knowledge of these new abilities. At the end of the game, though, you get all the crystals and fight to the death against the evil Ned Cortex, who falls down a big hole while dropping behind the final power.
Yeah, dude, that's
look
like
they seemed very unhelpful and pointless. I mean, I've already got some Adidas at home, especially when compared to a double jump or fruit bazooka. These seemed unnecessary and a bit of an anticlimactic reward for beating the game. But then you go back into the earlier stages to grab the final collectibles you missed, and at the very start of the level, you see a weird-looking thing that looks like a rotting lemon.
Rotting lemon? How's that look anything like a lemon? I mean, yeah, I get it. It's yellow, but come on, there's not even a white center. Also, your lines are squiggly. Actually, there should be squiggly if you made a more straight line, but still, more squiggly than. Actually, now I think about it, like, could be for just humor. I don't know. Welcome, Tintin. Gone. Actually, I don't know what it looks like. It just looks like a soul. a yellow slab. Like a yellow cucumber. What is going on here?
Furious, you touch it, and then...
Oh god, it's gonna get loud!
Why did the wumper fruit fly away? Why is there a timer to tell me I have to run? I'm gonna run, you know, I'm gonna run! Come on, Crash, dash away! Dash your little bandit dog! This is why the Crash Dash is a power-up, the time trials. And you are tasked with replaying every level as fast as humanly possible in order to get the best time. The boxes you'd usually break for the clear gen get replaced with time crates that halt the clock for the amount of seconds displayed on them, or they turn into empty boxes that do nothing but get in your effing way. For God's sake, who is leaving these boxes in the middle of Agrabah? After which, beating...
Agrabah? What are you referencing in the first place? Actually, I might be a little too young to know. Let's continue.
Times of each level rewards you with one of 3 types of relic, a new collectible. The Sapphire relic might as well be a participation certificate worthy of a single clap. Well done. You tried. They are the easiest to get by far and barely require much rushing at all to obtain them, so I suppose they're there
what
to
are you
pat your children
holding?
on the back.
Crash? Okay, that's quite the frame. But what was Crash holding? What, like a helmet? Okay, let's continue.
After this are the golden relics.
Alright.
They're harder to get than Sapphire, but they are the bare minimum you need to grab in order to bump up your final completion percentage in order to get the final hidden gem from Coco and complete the...
Alright, now, when I did the relic for the first stage in Crash 1, of course on the Insane Trilogy, because you can't do it on the original, because the original trilogy only introduced it on the final one, the third one, so I obviously can't do them on the original. And plus I don't have a PS1 and 2 anyway. I only have 3, 4, and 5, so at least I'm trying to play remakes of games. But yeah, contented, I guess. But actually, no. Pretty much on the first stage of Crash 1, same trilogy, pretty much. I know I rushed through it, of course, expecting to get, say, like a Sapphire relic, because come on, it's like the easiest to get, like I just said. And along with that, I didn't. Instead, pretty much, I found out I had to get like 30-something seconds and under to get a Sapphire. And I got like 44 seconds. Yeah.
But then, there are the Platinum Time Trial relics. These are another beast entirely, and the subject of today's video. To get the Platinum relics, it requires you to know the stage
also, Mom did just see
Not just the best routes to take for shortcuts across the terrain, but the best way to get around enemies, to exploit certain obstacle timings, to use all your power-ups, to pick up Aku hit point masks and sacrifice them at the right moments while keeping him for other moments. You can go invincible after you get 3 of him. It's more or less speed running as a standard gameplay mechanic. Oh, what's that, kids? You can't play that well? Tough shit, go away. This orange kite wasn't good enough for you anyway.
It does look like a kite, anyway.
The time trial relics became a bit of a staple in most of the Crash games following afterwards, including Crash Team Racing. And hell, when the Insane Trilogy came out, they even added time trial relics into Crash 1 and Crash 2, which originally didn't have them. But to this day, Crash fans remain divided about them. I mean, were they a cheap form of padding that were there to needlessly stretch out the games in a series that was losing ideas by game number 3? Or was this brand new content worthy of your time to go through and added even more depth, replayability and complexity to the future games that included them? Personally, I'm of the latter half of this opinion. The time trial relics to me add even more depth to replaying the same stages you already finished, because you aren't just going through it normally or combing your way through it slowly with new power-ups to find collectibles. You're doing it all in a completely different different way. It's almost like you're playing a totally different stage. Not to mention, the relics themselves aren't just a random optional collectible to flash your E-pin around to nobody because you're
What's an
alone in
E-pin
your house. They
anyway?
contribute to game completion, not just for grabbing the final hidden gems, but also for unlocking access to secret levels that are only unlocked by grabbing a certain number of relics. Whether it's a secret platform that takes you to a secret warp room full of extra levels, or a new race that you have to beat to get the secret ending, the relics don't only provide a new level of difficulty to levels that you may have found too easy, but also give you access to more content, which in my opinion is a better way to unlock them instead of just having more levels with more gems to grab. It's something different, you know, and requires a different approach and skill level to grab them, while staying true to the classic Crash formula.
Those 2 crates.
But the Platinum Relics don't give you shit. Aside from your own sadistic satisfaction, the Platinum Relics do nothing for you. The gold ones are all that you need for completion, and for the extra level unlocks, you only need the bare minimum Sapphire Relics, so why go for the Platinums? Because I'm incomplete. The title of this video isn't lying. Over the last few days, I have spent hours on top of hours in some vain, pointless attempt to grab every single Platinum Time Trial Relic in every Crash game that has them. Every single one. This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in any game I've ever played. Full stop. You guys think that playing the Insane Trilogy regularly is the Dark Souls of platform games? You don't know anything until you've seen what I've seen. Shut up!
What's up with your eye on my recording?
And just so I can get the entire internet off of my back before I'm called a filthy liar, this is my save file for Crash 1 Insane.
That's a video Switch controller.
Here is my save file for Crash 2 Insane. And here are all 27 Platinum Relics.
This is a number.
Crash 3, and here are all 31 Platinum Relics. Here is my save file for Crash Team Racing, and here are all 18 Platinum Relics. Here is my save file for Rapid Cortex, and here are all 30 Platinum Relics. Here is my save file for Crash Nitro Kart, and here are all 13 Platinum Relics. Here is my save file for The Huge Adventure, and here are all 20 Platinum Relics. Here is my save file for Entranced, and here are all 24 Platinum Relics. And the Crash Nitro Kart GBA, for some reason, doesn't have a tally anywhere, but trust me, here are 3, 6, 9, 12 out of 12 Platinum Relics. This, trust me, totals up to 202 Platinum Relics. 200.
Just take that number, put an O at the after the second 2, and boom, you have 2020. Man.
Two literal perfect run-throughs of stages as fast as possible while hitting every time-stopping crate, avoiding enemies and getting stuck indoors. And I do not, I repeat, do not recommend you doing this unless you have nothing better to do or have a YouTube show where you can show off to strangers. For
Don't
me,
do it.
This surpassed the definition of painful. In fact,
So you're saying you will
I could swear that my thumbs were going to fall off. Oh, it will take you so long to grab every Platinum Time Trial Relic in the Crash series that you'll become a relic by the time you're done with it. This was me before I started making this video, and this was me after I finished it. Don't even talk to me. And aside from talking to you all about my experience going through with this, I've got absolutely nothing to show for it. So I made myself a bat.
I'm the best. F off. Okay.
There's only so many different ways I can say over and over again, getting the practice is defeat, so I won't go on about it in a general sense anymore. Instead, I thought it would be fun to go through miniature top 5s in no particular rating order for the hardest Platinum Time Trial Relics to get in each and every game that has them. Not counting Crash Bash, by the way, because those relics aren't from doing any time trials, they don't use time crates, they take far too long to unlock, and because Crash Bash makes me want to die.
At KFC, grab 2 pieces of hot, juicy chicken, a side of mashed potatoes and gravy, and a biscuit for just $4.99.
They also didn't bother giving time trial relics to Crash Tag Team Racing, which I really don't understand since it's already a racing game. But there is actually one hidden relic in the game that not many people know about. All you gotta do is play the game for 10 minutes, get bored of it, put it back on the shelf and leave it there for the rest of your life. After this, it eventually becomes a relic itself. It's also worth mentioning that for this video I'll be using the remake versions of Crash Team Racing and Crash 3 because they're more or less exactly the same thing as the originals and just look nice. Plus in some cases they're even harder, so I wanted to challenge myself a little bit. And I'll only be covering the relics that you can get in the campaign modes of each game and that can be added to your total platinum relic talent, which means that the brand new added levels to the Insane Trilogy do count since they get added to your campaign total, but all of the new tracks in Nitro Fuel don't count, because getting the relics there doesn't count towards anything, doesn't get displayed anywhere, and I have no clue when they'll stop adding DLC levels, so it's probably best that I stick with the story mode ones that never changed from PS1 to PS4. Also, there's no point doing the Nitro Kart remade tracks in Nitro Fuel because I did them on the original game already. And with that, in no particular order, let's start off with
that'll be a problem, I think.
This game was pretty damn
remember
hard
the
to platinum all
first
the way through.
is
When it comes to Crash 1, whether it's the original or the
number
remake on the
one,
Insane
which
Trilogy,
is
there's one thing
not
that
the
rings
hardest.
true about the entire
Number 5
game.
is the hardest.
It isn't supposed to be rushed. It's foreplay Bandicoot. Because of that, when Vicarious Visions added relics to the original Crash for the remake, just because they could, they didn't even bother to add the Crash Dash as a power-up, because the game is simply not built for it. However, this doesn't mean that the platinum relics still aren't an utter prick to grab, because with the game's platforming itself being built around patience, that doesn't translate to running through the stages as fast as humanly possible. As such, one of the hardest platinums I tried to get in this game was with Sunset Vista. From the very second you start, you need to get the first jump correct or else...
Oh god.
And it only gets worse from there. In
Look at
terms
those
of
pixels.
raw platforming and nothing else, this stage in a normal setting isn't too taxing. But where the challenge comes from is by rushing through it. You'll find yourself needing to defy common sense and physics by jumping after being pushed away by protruding walls. You need to make sure that you time the start of your run perfectly so that you aren't stuck behind timed flaming torches. You need to make sure that you don't get hit at all so that you can invincible Aku your way across the middle part of the level. Really important because it makes you run way faster and be invulnerable to anything. You can't even afford to wait on these spinning platforms because that wastes too much time. So you better make sure the position they're in on your current run will be just right for you to hop, skip and jump across them. Otherwise you'll hop, skip and celebrate. And these bats, sweet mother crackhead, these bats. Sometimes you can spin them all away, no issue, and sometimes you can't. No idea why, but it's enough to make a hernia pop out. And all of this wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't one of the longest damn levels of the game. It's not only a flawless run, but it has to be a marathon too. Luckily though, I've got so good at this stage by this point, I'm able to smash these completely useless boxes right here before the exit and still end up with the platinum. I'm being way too cocky to talk about the first hardest level in this video. Generator Room begins with Cortex laughing so heavily at you that he's practically choking, and if you're going for the platinum here, he has every right to giggle at you.
Just going.
The first two time crates are positioned underneath TNT crates that you have to avoid spinning, and if you can get your head around that for the first goddamn boxes that need breaking, you'll then find yourself in a level with picky pixel perfect jumps galore, moving platforms over bottomless pits, and possibly the hardest aspect of the stage, the requirement to skip as much of these moving platform sequences as possible by jumping as early as possible on and off of them as early as possible in order to shave off the milliseconds you need in order to win, while fighting with depth perception away from the screen. Why do I feel the need to do this? Because the end of the stage sees you moving on floating platforms that are so slow, I'm convinced they're clinically depressed. And because of how much time this segment of the run wastes, you need to optimize the entire level beforehand so that you're safe enough to then skip the final jump and make it safely to the end. And that isn't what I like to do in my generator rooms. Fumbling in the Dumbling is a pretty hard stage just to get through normally, the gimmick being that you are in the dark and need to smash Aku crates in order to keep the path lit. But if you get hit just one single time, you don't just lose the hit point, you lose all the light as well. It doesn't matter how many Aku crates you break, you are stuck in the dark. Combine that with the need to rush through this level, often making leaps of faith onto platforms that
I'm just gonna keep on going with this because I don't want to be any longer. That's all you're gonna get. More than an hour, of course.
The platinum relic that I'm convinced has a sad face.
Yeah.
The lab. Oh Lord Jesus, strangle a cat, the lab. One of the hardest levels in the base game as it stands. Trying to rush through this one is like trying to square dance on top of a kettle. It's horrible.
My
and the
dad
main issue
said,
here is the fact that you are pretty much
all
required to
after
run
that,
by
that
everything
she
in one
also
go without stopping. But only when being able to start the level off at such a perfect time where you won't need to wait for
I've
these
done
electric
that.
gates that if they touch you,
How?
you zap your fat. And even if you time that start off so
It's a
well that
kettle.
all the gates turn off by the time you reach them, meaning that you can get past them without stopping, that doesn't negate the trapdoors that open and close very quickly, the switches that you must hit in order to open doors, otherwise bye-bye. The fact that you can't see behind the doors in order to plan your next move until it's too late, and the awkward jumps that you need to do around all the enemies, which if you time wrong can also lead to you getting electrocuted. Although, if you end up being in the stage so long that you could have kids with it, you could teach yourself to jump over the lower zaps of the electric gates at the right time. Stormy Ascent.
That is a
Come on, you all knew this was
scream.
going to be here. The level that was supposed to be in the original PS1
yeah, that's
game
my
that was
phone.
taken out because it was too hard.
Yeah, I'm recording with
Pretty
my
obvious choice now that I
computer.
said that. Eh? I'm sure
Not
many
my
of you
phone.
would argue that Road to Nowhere or the High Road should have been one of the harder levels, but to be honest, I found them not that bad at all because all you need
This
to do is
level
move
for
forward
me,
and time your own
I
jumps,
stopped
and
the
that is
game
it, really.
there
Not
because
move
it was
along,
way
time
too hard
jumps,
for me.
land on platforms
Like,
that move faster
literally.
than a bullet train,
It was
optimize
the
your passing
boards
hits,
for
abandoning
me.
platforms
The
at the right time to
boards.
keep running, avoid enemies everywhere, get over spikes protected by stairs that turn into slides, jump off of spinning platforms to bounce on top of time crates and then land back on the spinning platforms, land on other platforms
if
moving
you
around in
wanna
weird
watch
wavy
us
patterns
without
over
me
spikes and
interrupting,
bottomless pits, and while
just
trying to
go
keep yourself
to,
alive for nearly 3 minutes
Crash
in one of
Week,
the longest
like I've been
stages in the
saying,
entire
right?
game. Yeah,
Go
and you
there,
guys think
please.
a bridge is difficult. Oh
Pretty
look,
difficult
what's
to
that
me.
hiding under the stairs? Why, it's Cash Manuka 2 Gringotts Steakhouse. This game was just as hard to grab the
Okay.
platinums on as Crash 1, but for different reasons. As we all know by now, the original Crash 2 changed and refined basically everything
Yeah, I know
from
what
Crash
PS1
1, from the
graphics.
save system to gem
Or
collecting
PS2,
and
I have no
especially
idea
the
which one.
controls, including
That's
introducing the
really
use of a
wrong.
slide, crawl, and slide jump for extra height and distance to your jumps. However, there were still
Is there-
no relics or
is there a
power-ups in the
double jump
PS1
here?
game,
There
so the
is,
Insane
right?
Trilogy remake got the same treatment as Crash 1.
There's
but
a
with
double
one
jump in
key
Crash
difference.
4,
You
I've been
can
playing
now
that
use the
recently.
Crash Dash from Crash 3. And if you think that being able to run faster makes getting the platinum relics any easier, oh, I laughed like a dad. The thing
Your
is, just like
grandpa.
with Crash 1, because Crash 2 was never designed from the ground up to give players the ability to dash through them, the levels themselves are also not quite built to be rushed either. It's not as bad as the original by a long way, but it's still very noticeable that you're dashing through the snow in a more Norse open terrain. So in many ways, despite the new moves you can play with that allow
Oh,
you to
yeah,
take
we'll talk
ridiculous
about that
shortcuts,
snow
some of the
stage
platinum
soon.
relics here can actually be harder to get than any of the other games because of the Crash Dash power-up added in that the original design of the levels never accounted for. But I still persisted,
You're
and
gonna
here's
jump
why
on
I
those
call them the hardest
boxes,
ones to
right?
get. Let's start things off tame with a little trip to a simple stage known as Crash Crush. Well, it's simple enough on the base game at least. You run away from a boulder, but you can't run away from yourself. When going for a platinum relic though, Jesus H. Crisp. Where in the standard game
sometimes
you
say
get
that.
just enough room to
Jesus
see
H.
what's coming ahead with the
Crisps.
screen placement.
Man, this is
With
the first
Crash
video
Dash,
I've ever
that
watched
fairness
from
is
him.
thrown out of the window.
I
You
first
cannot
watched
see
it in
what's
the summer,
coming or
so
react to
yeah.
it quick enough because of how fast
I've
you move.
known
And
him
if it isn't a
for
bottomless pit or electric gate you need
over
to get
7
around, it's
months.
the one thing that will
Actually,
absolutely
probably
kill
8
your
months.
platinum run time.
Oh, wow.
The mines. You hit these mines and don't die.
I hope you're
but
doing
fly
well,
into the air
Teddy.
And stop when you hit the floor for a second. This means you can't hit a single one of these things,
From that-
or else you won't make it to the end in
say it
time. And because in the
last
game the
community
mines don't
post.
hurt you, they put
If you know,
dozens of
you
them in
know.
the stage to avoid. If you're playing
It's not
normally, they
appropriate or
aren't a problem
anything,
at all, just an annoyance that allows you to make a few mistakes. But running at blistering speeds, unable to see or guess where
It's
they
like
appear
6
from,
paragraphs,
or jump
of
over
course
them
I'm not
without
gonna
seeing a
say
pit
that.
they're sitting right next to is infuriating. This level has no business being this difficult to
Business?
platinum,
Oh,
but
God.
it is. So I'm gonna bitch hits right next to enemies that are invulnerable in certain states, ice physics, rolling wheels of hate, awkward box placement,
Oh, God.
ice physics,
That was
wooden
in,
lock
like,
traps that
Crash
crash you
1
instantly
as
if you haven't
well.
optimized your run before that point, ice physics, icicles
God.
that hurt you if you aren't running perfectly fast by them, which isn't always guaranteed
Okay,
because of long John
maybe
Cena
say
over
the
here.
most
Oh,
of
and
ice
did I mention
physics.
that this level has ice physics? Oh, and
Oh,
how
yes,
about
you
this
did.
for taking the biscuit?
A lot.
At the start of the stage, you have these weird-looking platforms here that will take you up to the side-scrolling parts of the levels. And in the Insane
Yeah.
Trilogy, if you land anywhere other than dead center onto these platforms, you waste time as Crash automatically hops to
Or
the
Coco.
level before the platform even starts moving. So you need to
Or
make sure on
shall
every
I
run that
say
you land
Coco
dead
as in
center into this
chocolate?
platform so it moves instantly. Why? You know how in showbiz everybody says to each other,
Because
break a
I'm
leg?
an
Do
American.
you reckon in snowbiz they all say to each other, keel over and die? Hanging out, unlike its namesake, isn't very relaxing and doesn't lead to anything sexy. You begin having to deal with a windy sewage tunnel that the camera isn't fast enough to catch up with you on, meaning you can't really see the rolling barrels of acid or the robots barreling towards you like they just saw the ice cream van. That isn't the worst of it though, because this level requires rushing as fast as possible during these monkey bar segments, which are unbearably awkward when you realise that in order to get the platinum, you cannot stop once during these moments. See this? Yeah, even if you stop for that long, you're screwed. So the very second you jump onto those metal grates, your position
last time I looked at my sub counter, it was at 8 subs. So we're getting close to our 10 sub thing. So keep it going. Just 2 more subs left. If you unsub, and you see that we're close, either at 8 or 9 subs, consider subbing. Plus, I'll warn this to you though. From what I've seen on channels, pretty much, I can say this or that. Pretty much, whenever you sub, you automatically get the notifications after if you don't immediately, turn it from, personalized to, no notifications at all. So, yeah, please do that if you don't want to get, like, hoarded. Hoarded with a lot of notifications. Please.
It makes it on this list for 2 reasons.
Not gonna like
only.
it.
One, the time you get around the flaming tiki head
I still have a
waiting. God damn,
bit
it's
of
so
channels
precise.
to
The barbecue for lunch.
And 2, very annoyingly, these singular 3 platforms right here near the end of the stage. Trying to jump from each of these with slippery physics, multiple directions they move towards and away from the screen, and moving while they're off screen so that you have no idea where to position your next jump until it's too late, sucked all the fun out of running this stage. You could have had the most flawless run and avoided all of the bastarding tiki head flames from pure luck, but just because you failed this bit near the ending, you've got to start the whole stage again. I don't think I need to explain why Totally Bare is on this list because, well, look at it. But in case you can't see, let me spell it out. You can't see. But that isn't the only problem. If you want to play this totally normally, Totally Bare is a fine level, not too challenging. But the Platinum Relic requires you to use a dash ability as much as possible. The dash lasts for about a second, and then takes another second or so to cool down before you can use it again. And not only is the level pitch black, meaning you can't see what you're dashing into, but most of the level is filled with jumps that can only be cleared by performing a dash jump.
Even me,
so you
I'll be
need to
able
decide
to
in
do
the
this
middle of the dark if you're
regularly.
going to dash right now and then not have a dash ready for a jump that needs it,
You know what?
or
I'll
don't
only
dash
do it
right
on
now and
jumps.
end up wasting too much time while you
I thought I was
save the
doing it
dashing
normally,
only for the
that
jumps
is.
that need it. Look, you're riding a
Alright,
baby polar bear towards a husk of nothing. I shouldn't need to explain why this is on. I'm not in court. This then moves us on to Crash 3, the game that introduced the time trial relics in the first place and gave us the Crash Dash for the first time.
Yeah.
Logically, you'd think that because the game was built with the Crash Dash in mind, everything from this point onwards would be much easier.
Huh?
Wishful thinking! To be fair though, in terms of difficulty, I'd say this was one of the easier ones to fully platinum, purely because it was designed to be rushed to a certain extent.
And also, if you want to check out another one of my favorite channels,
it's not as
go to
bad.
our IK.
Again, yes, I am using the
Here's a
N7
good one.
version of the game for the sake of consistency in this video. And if anything, because of some of the physics and vehicle control changes in this version, this is arguably the hardest way to get all the platinum relics anyway, so you're welcome into
my
that.
favorite
What's that?
games.
It's my ego. Anyway, I think it's high time we get this list started. I'm ready for this. Let's go. Damn you.
Fireman.
My time sees you travelling through the world of Arabian Nights as you hop along magic carpets that won't stay still to screw up your jumps, and you'll run straight into the jaws of fire, caused by the locals throwing all of their rubbish out the window.
Wait, what time is
They
it?
drink petroleum. These two elements
it's
are enough to mess
kind
up
of
the
nighttime
perfect
for me
run.
right
The
now.
irritating thing
That
is that they
probably
occupy
explains why
most
it's
of the
so
stage
dark.
and are both built
Alright.
around a looping AI.
Just
that
look
no
at the
matter
video,
how hard you try,
guess.
will never be exactly the same on each attempt, causing you to miss countless jumps. Or you can just fall through the platforms entirely, because who needs platforms in a platformer? And if you haven't got an Aku Master Sacrifice for the fire pits, that means you are stuck waiting, which means that you need to put your controller down and start drinking battery acid.
Yeah, don't drink battery
acid for a platinum relic. Luckily, I've done it so many times now, it isn't too taxing for me, but just getting to that point made me want to shave with a cactus. The level of practice you need to perform the utter absurd stipulation of getting a platinum on this stage is a joke. But not a funny joke, a joke that I hate so much that I have to write a letter of complaint to the BBC. What you need to do in Hog Ride to get a platinum relic is start boosting on the first speed pad you see, and then that's it, good luck. For the entire stage you cannot lose this boost, and while you're boosting, your turning is so slow and heavy, even my knees think, damn, I wish I was as stiff as that. If the road were empty, it would be fine, but it isn't. There are other racers looking to nudge into you and ruin the boost, ramps that if you go over will ruin your boost, and police cars that peacefully sit there and do nothing, which, let's be honest, is not realistic at all. The time crates as well, they all need to be broken to get the relic, but they're positioned in places where you need to preemptively turn into them and then preemptively turn out of them to slip through the gaps that are just about as wide as your bike. And by the way, the edge of the road also ruins your boost, so Hog Ride in essence is a tightrope walk on a motorbike. Yeah, it doesn't even matter if you wait behind the starting line for ages for all of the other racers to leave the track. You still have to deal with some of the tightest, flawless driving you'll ever experience in any game. And yes, all of the future bike levels are a piece of cake compared to this one, because they have moments where keeping your boost going is impossible, and time crates that are in the air that you have to ramp jump over, which will ruin your boost. So you have no choice but to slow down, but can still get the platinum. Here though, nah, you gotta keep the boost going for the entire thing, and it's also harder on the Insane Trilogy than on the original game because of the control differences. Hog Ride? At this point, I'd prefer riding a hog, and I think Crash wants to ride one in another way. Sphinxinator. What a bone-headed troll of a stage this is to platinum. I mean, it starts with you needing to ignore the clock, head backwards, fire at the clock with your bazooka from a distance, and then hit the crates that were originally behind you because now they've become time stoppers. After that, it's just you and the whim of the stage, subjecting you to whatever it feels like at whatever time it feels like. Sure, there are some skill-based elements you can master to cut down the seconds, like Death Tornado spin gliding across these moving platforms to skip them, or working out how to get by this awkward stack of TNT crates sandwiched between time frames. Particularly annoying since you can't tank through here and you need to save Aku for the final invincibility stretch at the end of the level. But the rest of it, so Beck help me, where do I begin? Fast moving platforms that leave too big of a gap to skip quickly unless they're timed perfectly. Closing doors that stay shut for ages unless you time your run through perfectly. Flamethrower men whose left and right pattern changes by the millisecond depending on how well your run has gone up to that point. Ice physics across oily floors that also have giant block traps falling from the ceiling. Most of the platinum relic here is just luck. So, good luck. Luckily, our next level doesn't rely on luck.
Good luck for a lot of these platinum relics.
It's the most unique level in the entire series for one reason. It's non-linear. You have to search for a nitro detonator box hidden in the level in order to clear the row of nitro crates blocking the exit, and Aku isn't a thing that can cheese it for you. So you need to find the best possible route of hitting enough time crates on your way to the detonator and on your way back to end the level. You can't hit too many on the way there, or you'll have none on the way back. There's like 70 boxes that you can choose from and multiple directions and angles you can take. There's a lot to consider when picking the most optimal route for you. And this wouldn't be so bad if the jet ski controls weren't as bad as my self-esteem. I've been over this before.
So you're originally just walking and there's a nitro around the ground?
The jet ski controls
oh my,
are the worst part of the Insane Trilogy as a whole. And where they far from affect my love for the game as it stands, like, when trying to get the platinum relic for Hot Cocoa, it's borderline unplayable. You skim and slide over the water with the most slippery controls imaginable and with a stupidly wide turning circle. So when your route involves being up close and personal with multiple mines, or nitro crates, by the end of your run, you would have learned a brand new language full of naughty words and flair. The time limit is so tight too, so you end up experimenting with different routes, which means different timings and different moving mines and different angles across different ramps, and it's so easy to miss every box or to hit the ones you really didn't want to hit. Hell, I could barely hit the time trial clock half the time before even starting the stage. Look at this. The best time I could get legitimately was right here, only overtaken by the glitch run I did ages ago where you could do this. And trust me, after only a few tries of Hot Cocoa, you will be tempted to do this. But if you want to see the route that I figured out legit, try copying it for yourself. It's right here. Not that it will save you from the controls though, but it's something, right? Future Tense, the new level added into the Insane Trilogy made entirely from the ground up by Vicarious Visions. It's designed to be the hardest level in Crash 3, and it is the hardest level in Crash 3, which naturally makes it the hardest to speedrun. Future Tense is so difficult that it makes me want to run away and put up a load of Future Tense. It's got everything. Time crates hidden in death-defying places, moving platforms, spinning platforms, plasma gates that time themselves on and off, enemies that are briefly invulnerable and move in weird patterns, enemies that are briefly invulnerable and don't move in weird patterns, multiple missiles coming at you from the foreground off screen, the need for you to not get hit at all so you can exploit Aku invincibility halfway through the stage, platforms that become unusable at inconvenient times. This level has it all. It takes every single frustrating aspect of Platinum Relic running from every other classic Crash level and blends it together into a milkshake only good enough for an OAP. Just look at this. Look at this. They expect you to rush through this.
Alright,
I think it's about time
that
we move on to Crash Team Racing now, and yes, just before you say anything, I will be using footage from the remake, just for consistency in this video and because it looks nicer. Oh, also, it's the same designed tracks, and it's got the same time crates. It's the same game, just it looks nicer and controls a little bit differently. Plus, with the insane speed you can reach in this version, I think some of the relics are harder to get on PS4 anyway, because it's way too easy to totally overshoot jumps and fly over the boxes. I made getting the relics harder for myself, again. Yeah, I know. No need to bow down, it's fine. I've got kids here that already do that for me. This game, personally, I ended up finding one of the easiest to platinum, which I really wasn't expecting. Still not easy, far from it, but much easier than the other games by quite a long way. When Crash Team Racing originally rolled around, I don't think anybody expected them to bring the platforming collectathon elements of classic Crash over to the kart racing mechanics. But they damn well did. Not for the regular races, but for the extra challenge races you unlocked after earning the main game trophies. One of those challenges of which being the time trials, rewarding you with the same time trial relics as the previous games. The objective here is the same. Rush through the track as fast as possible, but with
enemies.
three very important differences. Firstly, you don't unlock a new speed turbo power-up or anything, you just need to perfect the mechanic of drift boosting and use it as much as possible, which is kind of a pain when you need to aim accurately at the time crates while you're doing it. Secondly, time crates are everywhere, so many to the point meaning that you'll have to ignore some crates and save them for different routes in future.
We're at 30.
Laps. And thirdly, hitting all of the crates rewards you with a 10-second deduction, which is a massive bonus and a brilliant reward for bringing in the smashing all boxes mechanic from the original games. With all of that being said though, there were a few tracks here I platinumed by complete accident, which was a good sign. There were 1 or 2 stages where I was able to miss a box, reverse to hit the box, and still win the platinum. And some tracks like Cortex Castle or Oxide Station were so fun to speed through, I ended up earning the platinums without even hitting every time crate. Missing the 10-second deduction I figured that I would have needed. But that doesn't mean there aren't some bollock-ripping tracks though, because here they are. First off, Coco Park. Coco Park is without a doubt the easiest track in Crash Team Racing. It's big, wide, and has no sharp turns at all. But going for that platinum relic
I'm like
for me
46 minutes
because of one
to my actual
the
video and
hill of the
31 into the video I'm watching or reacting to.
Okay.
No.
The amount of times you will try and fail to fly off the edge of this hill to grab these boxes to the left is unfathomable. I've tried multiple speeds from multiple angles and it still seems like total luck to me. And this single Sekiro level jump hiding in the easiest course of the game isn't all. There's also time crates hidden behind the same hill on the ground that you will never be able to see or aim towards before jumping off of the hill that you will need to do to get the boost. You will drive by these things at least once, even if you have a rough idea where they'll be. And on an easy track, missing these really few boxes makes you feel like a complete idiot. And I'm not an idiot, because my mummy told me I wasn't. Engine's Lab. This is an awkward ass track to race in while trying to boost constantly and hit all the time crates, mostly due to the endless 90-degree turns and crates hidden behind other corners that you can't quite see around until it's too late. Also, at the end of the lap, you get given a ton of 3-second crates all stacked up in a grid. And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out the best strategy to smash them all efficiently without wasting time within the first 2 laps. I wasn't able to get the platinum even by starting the race reversing into them. However you look at it, it's unintuitive and feels like a pointless hurdle that you can very easily mess up, costing you the platinum relic. I also really hate the way the PlayStation logo sticker throbs whenever you speed boost. It's very distracting and it made me fall off this end of the track at least 6 times. By the way, that's another thing. This track puts too many boxes right on the edge of bottomless pits that you cannot fall in, but still somehow you have to speed past. What is this? Blizzard Bluff is only hard to platinum for one reason, and anybody who's played this stage knows what I'm about to say. Two words. This f***ing jump. Oh wait, that's the... This is it. This is the only reason this stage is such a chore to get the Platinum Relic on. I mean, I suppose the ice physics can be kind of annoying, but those issues pale. They squeal in comparison to this bumbling piss stick of a jump right here. You not only have to be going as fast as humanly possible beforehand, which means not getting squashed by this stupid stone, but you also have to be boosting, while controlling yourself on ice physics so that you don't crash, while hitting all of the time crates placed in such a way that I swear it was designed to point and laugh at me even when I got the jump correct. I'm playing as Gorilla Monkey Anus Face for this one. Ooh.